Hi, and welcome to TC18. My name's Amanda Boyle. I'm the community manager for Tableau. We're here in New Orleans for our amazing Tableau conference. Day one is well underway. There's some sessions going on. There's keynote this morning, but now you're going to hear from me chatting with one of our community members. Her name's Christina Gorga.
Hi, everybody.
Yeah, we're excited to have her here. We're going to have a great conversation. We're going to talk about the Community Founders Award, some of our experiences at conference so far, and I'm just going to help chat with Christina about everything we've seen so far and our great experience. So. I'm going to read off my notes just because there's a fair amount that we want to make sure we cover. So first, welcome to TC. This is your first Tableau conference. How is it so far?
It's insane and amazing. You know what? It's so funny because I was mentioning this to you beforehand before we got on, but for those of you that are familiar with the Tableau community, a lot of people kind of live in Twitter.
Yes.
And so getting to see the people in real life, aside from their Twitter handles, is really something else. And everybody is just so friendly, so nice. And you know what? There's so much going on too. And because there's a whole variety of different kinds of sessions, hands-on training, events, anything else you can possibly think of, you can really sort of tailor your conference experience.
Yes.
So that's kind of like what I'm sort of seeing, and I'm sort of like reassessing like what I want to do this week after kind of being here now for like a, now a 2 days. Yeah.
It's a little bit of a time warp. You come into conference and there's so much to do, so much to choose from, the people you connect with, and then you're like, okay, so a day passed. That was just yesterday, and we did so much already since yesterday. So, I think it's really great to think about when you know people from social media. So much of the Tableau community is either on Twitter, on LinkedIn. We chat, we post to each other in different groups. But to actually see somebody and you're like, oh, you're that person I've had all of these conversations with for years. So I know it's really exciting to have you here. So did you attend what are some of the sessions you saw yesterday?
Okay, so I did attend Makeover Monday for a couple of minutes before I had to jet off. Actually, what I did yesterday is I did 2 brain dates, and that's a new that's a new thing this year, right? And so I got a chance to meet a couple of people in person that I've been sort of following for a while on their blogs. So Pooja Gandhi and Adam Crahan from the Data Duo, and I've been following their work for a while.
They're incredible.
They're awesome.
Yeah, so Pooja and Adam are both Tableau Zen Masters. They've been affiliated with the Tableau community for years and years. They're incredibly kind, but for anybody watching from home, Brain Dates was a new program that we launched this year. It's actually like our approach to mentorship. So we have pairs of people and groups of people come together and have conversations around themes. Maybe it's you work in healthcare and you meet a couple people in healthcare and you have that kind of conversation. But it was a great chance here at Tableau to launch a way for people to connect in a new, intimate way. It's been a huge success. Somebody told me they had 5 yesterday.
Yeah.
And it's just been really exciting. So I'm glad you had a good time with that.
Yeah, and the nice thing for me is that, I think what I was mentioning before is that you can really tailor your experience for whatever you want to do.
Yeah.
And for me, I really like to be able to meet people one-on-one and talk to them about what issues they've been encountering in their client work or anything like that.
Yes.
And it's nice to be able to just talk with somebody in person. And then for some people, they like sitting in, sessions where people are talking about their work, but you're in a big room with lots of other people. So for me, it's a really kind of nice active learning experience.
Yes.
And so that's one of the reasons why I really like the brain dates.
I love it, and I think that's something really special. This is only my second Tableau conference, so something really special about it is you can choose your level of intimacy. Maybe you're the type of person who is a classroom learner and you can do the pre-training and all of that, but then you can also choose to have the small intimate sessions. You can spend time in Data Village. You can hang out in here all day if you want to. And
I practically just did that for an hour.
Okay, wait, sorry. I want to keep track. I'm sorry. This is well scripted a little bit, so we wanted to make sure we stayed with some of the content. So one of the reasons we're chatting today is my role is the Tableau community manager. So I oversee some of our programs. I work with an amazing team of people across Tableau, but also we represent the work of the Tableau community. So this year is the first year we're actually awarding a Community Founders Award. So we're honoring the people who started and built the magic that is the Tableau community. This is well before my time. These amazing people have been around. This is our 11th conference. Many of them had come from the very first one back in Seattle. And one person in particular, Michael Christiani, is an incredible icon within our Tableau community who unfortunately passed away last year. And there was just an outpouring of love and support and just sharing of stories of how he connected people and how special he was. And he had this passion. He was one of those founders that helped make the Tableau community so special what it is today, and we are also fortunate to be a part of it. And because of that impact, and we listened to the community, and our Chief Marketing Officer, Elisa Fink, sponsored the Community Founders Award. She said, for perpetuity, we're going to give away an award where we bring a new community member to Tableau Conference. We give them a complimentary ticket, we cover expenses and everything, and we're excited to have you here. So Christina's our inaugural winner. Yep. There was nominations and a bunch of things submitted by her peers. She was nominated by her peers and then voted on by some of our employees. So welcome to conference.
It's been crazy.
Yeah.
It's absolutely, and you know what, it's very heartwarming because there's a dual connection here. I actually knew Michael because he was my former boss at my job. Even if we weren't necessarily working on direct projects with each other, we talked a lot about not even just work, but life. And also, he was one of the people that actually connected me to quite a few others in the Tableau community. And that's one of the reasons why I started to reactivate my Twitter account and started talking with people and reaching out to people. And that's what Michael did. You know, when Tableau first started out, he was the one that was using Twitter to share content with other people. And that's how he connected a lot of other people in the Tableau community together. So for me, like, it's not even just all about, like, you know, my connection to Michael, but it really sort of, the Community Founders Award really, like, sort of stands for what the Tableau community stands for. And I think for us, it's sort of there's a common thread of, like, mutual respect, but also lifelong learning. Like, how can you figure out ways to not only expand your knowledge, but also being able to share that with others. So I think that that's the really critical part about what Michael Christiani meant to me and also to many others, because it was, I think it's the acronym CASE that a lot of people use in the community, is like create and share everything. And that is so true, because that's what he did. Even if he didn't necessarily have an active Tableau public page, he would still, like, constantly go on Twitter and, like, retweet everybody else's work.
Showing lots of love and appreciation for everyone.
It's true though, and so for somebody, like myself, it's a very special honor to be going, not even just in Michael Christiani's name, but also to many other people that are trying to continue to create this kind of culture of sharing and inclusion.
It's incredibly special, and Michael did this so powerfully and so eloquently for so long and connected with everyone, and he has a well-known, well-loved and adored reputation and relationship with some of my peers at across the events team, across marketing specifically, because we knew him. But he was part of this groundswell of really passionate people years ago, and he's just incredible. So there's like Michael and some of his other peers and people in that really built this thing that we are just fortunate to be a part of, and we all get to carry on, and it's really special. So just thinking about that, it's just been a pleasure to be here and think about him and think about everybody else. Thinking about, like, what are you thinking about next for conference? What are your next plans for the rest of the afternoon? Or?
So I was planning on going to a session that is actually it's being run by Andy Kriebel, that many of you probably know from Makeover Monday, and Jeff Schaefer.
Yes,
so they're doing
both the Zen Master, the duo,
the duo,
the battle.
Yeah, so I think last year they did something like a Tableau tip, like 50 Tableau tips in like a crazy short amount of time. So this year I think that they're doing like creating 50 different charts in a short session. So I'm going to that later, and then going to be going to actually an Idea Labs of like one of the Idea Labs sessions.
The labs over here.
Yeah, so like for those of you that don't know, Tableau Labs is hosting a lot of these user research sessions on some, I guess you would kind of call it like prototype or like beta versions of various aspects of the software that they might end up launching. So just getting feedback.
So Tableau Labs is actually a huge space within Data Village this year. It was last year too. It's really popular. The area is staffed with members of our Tableau development team, some of our analysts, amazing people across our company, and they actually show some of the features that were highlighted in the keynote this morning, like NLP will be featured. They'll have a whole section on, not NLP, Ask Data. Very exciting. Now that the official branding is public, they'll have that. There's other things around Tableau Prep, Tableau Prep Server, Conductor, everything will be featured over in that area. So if you're at TC or you want to check any of these things out, definitely look into Tableau Labs. I'm excited you're going over there. Some of, I'm friends with some of the engineers, and they're incredibly brilliant. I'm always inspired by the things that they're working on.
And so going on that, I'm going to Devs on Stage tomorrow morning. That's like first thing. I've heard from a lot of people that I've known in the community for a while. They're like, that is actually that event, and also Iron Viz are the things to not miss. So I'm really looking forward to those two events tomorrow, mostly because you just get to see the insane work that is done, not only by people in our community on a stage, but also by the people that are actually creating the product that we use every day.
They've been rehearsing for weeks. Like there's so much trial and error and figuring out what kind of flow they want to have, and the devs are charismatic and they're quirky, and the features that they talk about I'm really excited as well. That's one of my favorite things to attend. The people are, the devs are incredible. We're so fortunate to get to work with them. So Devs on Stage, Iron Viz this year, we'll have the trio, 3 different individuals battling it out. I believe Andy Cockreeve, also a prominent member of the Tableau community, he's actually going to MC this year. We're really excited to have him. I've seen some sneak peeks on his wardrobe, so if you're watching from TC Live tomorrow, definitely watch Iron Viz and Devs on Stage. That'll be really fun. So looking forward to that. I don't want to pick favorites for Iron Viz, but I also do. So it's hard because like the Tableau community, like we said, it's very interwoven. Everyone's supportive, but it's also like it's fun to see what your peers can come up with. It's really exciting to see what friends, how they push their own boundaries. I know Corey Jones has been rehearsing like absolute like bonkers, like all day night. So he's a Tableau community member. He's a Tableau ambassador and leads a user group, I believe, in Philadelphia.
Yeah, he's out of Philly. I met him a couple of nights ago. There was a Data Plus Women meetup, and he was there, so I got a chance to meet him. But I also got a chance to meet, is it Ludovic?
I'm not sure.
Yeah, he's I think he's the one that won the Tableau Europe.
TC Europe,
the TC Europe one. Okay. So he's, I'm not sure if he's the TC Europe, but definitely there was some Ludovic that he's been practicing, and he was telling me about it the other day. Yeah, so if you guys are out there, like, I'm really excited to see you tomorrow.
Good luck.
So, good luck.
So we're excited for that. I think just thinking about Tableau conferences, officially Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, but it goes by so fast, and it's just exciting to think about all the different things you can experience, the people you can make connections with. We have Data Night Out tomorrow also, a chance to celebrate with everyone, the sessions with everybody that you can attend tomorrow, and then you also just meet people walking through the hallway. I've run into people that have been inspiration since I've been here, that are just kind, and they'll come out and say hi because they just recognize your face from Twitter or from a photo posted somewhere. So it's really, really special how welcoming and just engaged everyone is and excited. It's like a big family reunion.
It really is.
Yeah, I think so thinking about some of the things that you've done since you've been here, I'm curious, I wanted to ask some of the questions. We chatted about this ahead of time. We wanted to make sure we covered a couple of things. So I'm curious, how long have you been using Tableau?
So Tableau, if I'm talking like when I actually even downloaded Tableau Public or Tableau Desktop, that would have been back in 2015, early 2015. But I didn't really start using it regularly for my job, for actual client projects until 2016 when I switched to the Lewin Group and I was working with Michael. So really, that would be 2015 to now 2018, so almost 3 years. Definitely more than 3, and we're going on 4 probably in 2019.
So was that about the time when you were at the Lewin Group, you learned about the Tableau community? Was that from Michael?
Definitely from Michael. But the funny thing is that I also learned about the DataViz community in general. A lot of them were also using Twitter, which is actually how I found out a couple of folks in the Twitter community. More specifically, Andy Kriebel was actually one of the first that I actually ended up following, I think, of any of the Tableau bloggers on Twitter. So that was even before I joined Lewin.
And Andy Kriebel specifically, his blog just hit he has posted 1,000 blogs on Tableau.
It's nuts. It's absolutely bonkers.
It's passion and it's generosity. He learns all of these things and shares them with people. It's it's really special. So thinking about Andy, so that's when you were introduced to the Tableau community. We hear different stories from people how they became engaged. Like it's almost like everyone's welcome, everyone's there, but you kind of have to choose your own adventure of what kind of projects you want to do. Did you do Makeover Monday early on, or?
The funny thing is, I sort of was I describe myself as like a wallflower of the community, and I watched what a lot of people were doing, and I was mostly just genuinely curious of, okay, what is this Tableau tool, and wow, people are like publishing with this thing called Tableau Public, and they're doing all these different challenges, because Makeover Monday, I think, has been out now for at least 2 or 3 years, right?
I can't actually say that. I know Andy Cockreeve and Andy Kriebel worked on it years ago, and now it's Eva Murray and Andy Kriebel.
Right.
So
so it's been about at least 2 or 3 years.
Yeah.
So I got Tableau Public. I did a couple of like side projects, like my sort of foray into using Tableau Public, but actually, one of my first things I ever did was attending the DC Tableau user group.
Oh, great!
Tug, or as we call it, tugs in Tableau speak.
The Tableau user groups, yes.
And so I went to that back in late 2015.
Okay.
But even after that, I attended one of I guess it was the first Data Plus Women meetup in DC.
Oh, fantastic!
And that's actually how I got to meet a lot of people, like Emily Kay, who runs the Tableau Wannabe podcast.
Yes.
And then there's a bunch of other awesome DC Tableau community members that I met through those. So most of my interaction, at least at a local level, has been through Data Plus Women.
That's fantastic. I've been really impressed, especially so last year, I got to meet some of the women from Data Plus Women. This year, it's just, there's so much enthusiasm and passion, and they've worked really hard with the Tableau team here. I know Talithia Williams, who spoke last year, will be speaking again this year. There's a panel discussion happening as well. I'm not sure when or where that is. Everything's available in the app, so if people are curious, definitely check out the app. But looking at the schedule of there's a massive groundswell towards Data Plus Women. It's so exciting. So to know that that's where your inspiration came from.
It really did. And honestly, I've met a lot of friends through that.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, so even people that aren't even in the DC area, because it's become such a movement, and especially within the Tableau community. So there's a broad movement towards diversity and inclusion within the data space, and not even just in Tableau. Data Plus Women, I think, was originally set up with a lot of Tableau people in mind, but there's also a lot of other female data scientists, developers, you name it, that all belong to Data Plus Women meetups.
I think especially with programs like Data Plus Women, it needs to be platform agnostic. It's open and it's inclusive to anyone. If you're a developer, if you're a marketer, if you're in any spectrum of any of those industries, because we all have that same passion for inclusivity and working with your peers and feeling like that safe space to learn and engage and talk about different things that you think are interesting and that you can share with your peers, and not necessarily like a safe space is a weird way to put it, but it's like you feel like you can just learn together and share in that experience and create lifelong friendships is the best thing that I've seen Chloe and Britt and a couple of other women have become these amazing powerhouse influencers, but they're so kind and they're like, hey, come to this. We want to chat with you. We want to get to know you. It's that level of passion and generosity and friendliness.
Yeah, but following up on that, if it wasn't for people like Bridget Cogley, who's also a Zen master.
Oh my God, yes, please, Bridget.
yeah, she's amazing, and she was also very heavily inspired and a good friend of Michael's. It wasn't really for people like Bridget, I wouldn't feel the move or the drive to really become more of a public part of the Tableau community. So by means of, starting a blog, really using your Twitter well, and utilizing your presence well on the internet, and then also with, publish to Tableau Public. Don't be afraid to publish things, regardless of what people are going to initially say or give you feedback.
A lot of the Zen Masters will say, if you go on their Tableau Public profiles, yes, they're a Zen Master today, they're like, look at the first viz that I posted on Tableau Public. We all started somewhere.
So
we all learn together, and the more you practice, the more you engage, the more you seek inspiration and feedback from your peers. It's a great way to be like, I did this. Do you have any thoughts or tips and ways you can actually improve? But Tableau Public, it's beautiful. Yeah,
it is wonderful.
Yeah. Oh my God, I love it. So thinking about women like Bridget, I absolutely, she's been an inspiration. So I've been in my role here at Tableau a little over a year, and I met her at TC, at Tableau Conference last year in Las Vegas. She introduced me to data ethics and data literacy, and these were concepts that I'd heard it being discussed, but I didn't know a lot about it. But that's been a big conversation here at Tableau this week as well, is just talking about data literacy, bringing more people into the conversation around data ethics. So I know that they're giving panels about that. I know Jenny Richards, who's a Tableau employee, is speaking on it as well. So Bridget is another just amazing woman within the community and an inspiration. So thank you for bringing her up. She's great.
Yeah, and she's also a friend of mine too. So
nice.
Bridget, I love you. And honestly, I don't think I would be able to do the kind of work that I do without folks like Bridget in the community. I think the Data Plus Women thing has made a more organized effort, but there's been a lot of movement even behind the scenes for many, many years to try and figure out ways to not only to help promote women that are in our workspace, but also to give them opportunities to continue growing and giving them opportunities for leadership, which is the biggest thing probably for even from my standpoint, because you know, I'm kind of at that stage in my career where I'm going to start hiring people that are going to be working with me. And when I look at women that are going to be up and coming in the industry and, you know, people that are really interested in belonging in the data analytics space is, you know, what are all these different individuals, regardless of their background, what do they bring to the table? How is their voice going to help us encourage more people to join the data analytics world? So I think
that's a really important conversation to be happening, and just to be a part of, and to engage and to welcome diverse voices into the conversation, and to meet all the unique people that come to a place like Tableau Conference and start to ask those questions of each other, and just opening it up to talk about it. Because even like I know a lot of people who are part of the Tableau community might work in isolation. You might be the only analyst at your massive company, and nobody knows how to, or you're the server and IT admin, and you're like, nobody understands what I do. It's like, this is a place where you can talk about data ethics issues, and you can talk to your peers and be like, how do you approach it? What do you do there? And have that kind of safe space. So, and just a chance to learn from each other, which is it's so much fun. I'm always blown away at conference because like, we work with everyone all year round, but it's so rare that we actually get to talk to each other. It's all over email or Slack or Twitter, and to actually get to spend time with people and have these really important conversations. Like hanging out with you.
I know, Amanda.
I'm such a, sorry I'm a dork, but like we've been talking for a couple months and we just met on Monday night.
Yeah, so, and also we found out that we have a common like Michigan connection.
If you're from the Midwest.
So it's great to just not only being able to see people that work for Tableau, but also being able to meet them in person and just being able to like congratulate them on honestly like the amount of work that goes into putting on this kind of scale of a conference. With 16,000, they were saying 16,000, 17,000?
Yeah, 16 or 17,000 was what was on the keynote this morning. No, it's like, that's something, if you've attended Tableau Conference or you're here today or you're watching this later, it's fun to just think, like take a step back and think about the scale of that, plus the sponsors. It's like, I give my heart to our events team and everybody who works all year long to plan this, and you forget how big it is until you get back here and you're like, oh yeah, okay, that's why. Because it's brilliantly done, and people are like, everyone's having a good time, there's enough food for everybody, there's everything that you need is here, and if there isn't something, we figure it out, and we're all there to rally to behind each other and support if anything goes wrong. So yes, it's been fun.
Definitely.
So how are we on time? Sorry, not to cut short, but I want to make sure.
We got it.
Okay, we got a couple more minutes, so we're gonna keep chatting. I want to look at the questions here. So you've been in your field for a while. Why did you join the data community? We talked about that. Yes, I'm curious about your vizzes. So out of all the vizzes you've created, has there been one that you've been like really passionate about, or something that you're like really proud of?
So I'm really proud of the fact that I decided to join Iron Viz, one of the Iron Viz theaters this year.
Yeah, what theme did you do?
I did it on the wreck of the Edmund Fitzgerald.
Oh my God, I
which
remember
for you,
that.
Yeah, I did. And so for any of you that don't know, the wreck of the Edmund Fitzgerald happened in the 1970s.
If you don't remember, God, I should. If you play the Gordon Lightfoot song, and you will remember the tale of the Edmund Fitzgerald.
it goes on for a while. It's like a 6-minute song, but it's it talks all about. So this wreck, it actually happened in the 1970s, and was the largest scale, I think, wreck that happened in the Great Lakes in a freshwater wreck. I think I might be mistaken on that, but it might be one of the ones that was one of the largest, at least in the 20th century. But anyways, it was off of
Whitefish Point in Lake Superior.
Yeah, Whitefish Point. Yeah, and
the fact that we both know this is brilliant.
Yeah, this is what happens when you get a bunch of Midwesterners that have probably heard the story so many times.
So you created a viz for the theme on water on this. Yeah.
I did, and you know what? I was really nervous about doing it, but when I saw that the last Iron Viz theater was for a water theme this year, so there's so many different ways that you can go with that. Yep, initially, actually, I was thinking of doing it on the Flint water crisis, which is another Michigan-related topic that is very controversial. Ended up switching gears and ended up going with the Edmund Fitzgerald because I just got inspired randomly because I was talking with somebody about, You know what would be really interesting is doing something on shipwrecks, but not anybody really knows too much about great, North American shipwrecks.
Just the number that are actually within the Great Lakes specifically, how many ships have gone down, all the history behind that, the storms, whatever records they have. How far back did your records go? Do you remember?
So the ones that they had were going back to, the 1800s, I think even to the late 1700s, because people have been trading all across like that part of like Canada into what is now like Wisconsin, Minnesota, and Lake Michigan ever since, I don't know, the 1700s, because of the French Canadians that ended up New France, so all the fur trading and everything.
And then the native tribes and everything before that, so you can like think about the history around everything there.
Yeah, so it goes back, but the thing is that I actually had to be very savvy in creating like basically new data sources from scratch.
I was going to ask about that next. Like, where did you find data on that?
So it was sort of a combination of a bunch of different things. There's the Shipwreck Museum actually in that is off of Whitefish Point, I think.
I've only been there once. I can't remember. But
yeah, so there's a couple of different museums and groups.
They have free data available?
They do have free data available on like Great Lakes shipwrecks. So if you're ever interested in Great Lakes shipwrecks, and also Wikipedia too, you know what? Honestly, I tell people you might be able to find a bunch of text tables in Wikipedia that you can spin out and throw into Tableau, which is...
That's interesting.
Yeah, and throw into like a CSV or an Excel file.
Okay.
And so I did sort of a combination. I did a couple, joins, figuring out ways to combine and match up the data. But yeah, so it was a lot of bit of elbow grease that went into creating some of the data behind that.
So that's like, I mean, you think about Iron Viz, even if you're new to Tableau or you're new to the Tableau community and you're like, I want to test my skills. Iron Viz is such a, it's awesome because you submit your Viz and then you actually get feedback from the judges. Of course, they select a winner for each of the different feeders, but you can request feedback and they'll tell you, like, we liked this is something you could potentially work on.
Yes.
That type of feedback, especially for somebody who's developing their skill set and new to Tableau, it's really exciting because you don't always get that. It's hard to get that in a professional capacity just from your peers of people who might be professionals in this space.
And actually, as I was going through sort of like the thought process for it, I reached out to quite a few people in the Tableau community. I think I reached out to like 5 people, Lorna Eden, Lindsay Betzendahl, like Mag Cisneros, and like a couple of others. But yeah, those in particular, I remember like reaching out to them, like first thing I said, okay, I have this idea, how can I scale it, and how can I make this, not even just a pretty story, but how can I make this impactful?
And then like how do you visually tell the story, and then when somebody actually looks at the Viz, it's like how do they understand it? What do they see first? Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So that was a great world learning experience.
Okay, well, that's exciting. Sorry if anybody isn't passionate about Great Lakes maritime culture. Sorry. I know it's not necessarily interesting for anyone, but anybody from the Midwest would probably understand why we got so excited. We're very proud of the Great Lakes. Just thinking about that, and then, so thinking about the Tableau community, you're going to be here for 2 more days.
Yes.
So you have Wednesday, then we have Thursday. How do you plan to stay in touch with folks after you leave conference?
Oh man, so right now there's a WhatsApp that has a group of us that
I've seen it.
You've seen the WhatsApp giant thread that's really it's very active. Like I'm receiving like pings right now, but probably the WhatsApp, which is nice because so many of the people that I've actually met are from all over the world. A lot of them
the global
actually,
community, absolutely.
Yeah, Australia, UK, you name it. So none of us are on the same time zone at all. But honestly, it'll be a combination of probably WhatsApp, Twitter, blogging, and it'll be a sort of a combination of things. But the nice thing is that for me, in the DC community, there's a quite large Tableau group that I'm still very connected to.
You can physically go and connect with your Tableau user group. Yep.
Exactly. But I mean, for those of you that are, really interested in doing like that, keeping in touch with people afterwards, I would say probably the best way is, honest to God, Twitter. Yeah.
I didn't use Twitter until I started working at Tableau, and it's fun and it's inspiring, and you can learn new stories and see new faces and connect with people from all over the world.
Yeah, and
everybody knows about Twitter, but to actually be in like a whole bubble of it around our industry is
it's really fascinating too, because I was very skeptical about the use of Twitter at first for using it for your professional work, but the funny thing is that the Tableau community like uses that primarily. So you know, if the nice thing though is that, and this is the best part, is that you'll have all the stuff that's coming through on your thread is all data, because Twitter knows that your algorithm is all set to all things data.
Yeah,
so that's nice.
Mine turned over a handful of months ago, and I remember I was like, I used to be a little bit more environmental issues, social issues, and I was like, okay, you obviously use this for work more than anything else. Yeah, so that's, it's interesting to see all of that. The Tableau community is amazing. So I personally work on the forums, and then we work with the ambassadors and the Zen masters, so they're global as well, so it's really exciting to find different ways that members of our community can connect with those individuals, whether they're in your local area, or if you connect with somebody that's answering your questions in the forums, or maybe you're really engaged on Tableau Public or social, so just thinking about those different programs, but it's really special to think about that. There's we worked on a campaign before conference this year. The social team led it. We asked people to send in video stories of why they were excited to come to conference.
I saw that.
They were so heartwarming. It really felt like people were coming for a family reunion, like the emotion, and it's like, I see these people once a year. They're part of my family, and it's, we did the whole data fam hashtag earlier. Yeah, it was like, you look at those and you're like, yeah, this is a family, and and it's inclusive, and it's like, we welcome new people and everybody. It's like, it's everyone's included. So So just thinking about data fam, thinking about Tableau, it's really exciting to think how we can all stay in contact going through the year. So I know after this, so if anybody's here at Tableau Conference, some other things you can do, if you haven't met any of the members of the Tableau community, we're actually going to do a community meetup. So if you happen to be watching this live and you're in New Orleans, please come and join us. We're in Data Village, so from 2:30 to 3:30, there's a meetup actually in Data Village at the community house. So we actually have a house.
Yeah, it is an actual house. It's like a scaffold of a house, but yes, there is one.
They built us a frame. So we have a house here in the back right corner of Data Village. It's right next to the Zen Garden, so we're going to do a community photo, and then that'll be distributed across all our social channels soon. But if you're not physically here, we'd love to have you, but next year maybe. But yes, we do this every year. We try to get everybody together a handful of times as much as we can, and it's great. People who've never met any of us come, and we have new connections. We take photos, we chat, and then between all the different parties and everything throughout the course of the week, we make sure people have lots of chances to come together. But the community meetup is really special because it brings together the Tableau public, the user groups, the ambassadors. Everybody kind of comes together to have a great moment together. So I just saw the signal, so we're going to start wrapping things up, but I did want to give you one gift from our team. So part of coming to Tableau Conference is you were awarded a complimentary attendance, and we're very, very happy to have you and all of that, but we want to give you a couple gifts because we know you've never been to a conference before, so it's a couple of branded things from us. So this is from the community team. Here you go.
Oh, that's cute. Oh my gosh, that's adorable. So I love it.
There's some gifts from the Tableau store in there. We wanted to make sure you had a couple things to take home with you. So.
Oh, thank you guys
it's our pleasure.
So much.
Yeah, well,
Amanda, you guys have been amazing. I couldn't have been happier to be here this past week and to experience all of this. And also NOLA too, which has been my first time. So
everyone in NOLA, New Orleans, we absolutely love your city. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Okay,
all right.
Thanks.
Thank you, everybody.
Guys.
Bye.